typically points. Graphing functions. If looking at graph, gonna build draw a graph. So I'm drawing parabola functions that we. So right is called the vertex, and that's where it moves right down from the. So the way down. It's not at 0. I draw one. Obviously moves vertex located my graph and stuff. It's 1 over 2 down. So you have to say like the x and comma 1. So 1 to the or the y. Yep, to the right. That's your vertex. Yep, that's your vertex. So you're on the assignment like tell. They're going to ask you about called axis. Axis of symmetry. Or symmetry. That means like one. You know, like your face or almost inside your face kind of. It's close. Be perfect match, you know. But my face is kind of. I could draw my body. It's like the other. You know, two. So a symmetry would just be a graph, and I'll draw like the middle. That's the axis of symmetry. Middle. If I fold the paper and if I folded it right on that dotted graph matches together. So the axis has to be it's an equal. The axis of it has to be a number. So I just drew a dotted line and make the red dotted line nice. What's the subsymmetry of this one? X equals, what do you think? What's the symmetry? You have X equals then the number. Try to stress that because if you don't tell it says it's right, the whole equation of that. You can't just 1, you have to type x1. It's always x equals a number, axis of symmetry. What you're going to be doing, you're going to be literally graphing and be specific. You're going to be x and y points. This graph has a vertex. It has some more points. Points on here. It's called x-intercept. That's another concept. The thing about this graph is x. X-intercept is graph hits or crosses axis. That's what X-intercept. I made parabola in black. Doesn't it hit the axis a couple times? Axis. Where are the x-intercepts? Where does it hit the? Where does the graph hit the x-axis? Equals negative and 3. You could just put comma, like in 2 spots. X-intercept 3. Assignment, I think they just like one thing they make you type the numbers. Oh, x-intercept, and right there. Yep, those are the x, like where the crosses the x-axis. So it hits it twice, doesn't it? So yeah, axis of symmetry, x equals. For them, if they just say just numbers with a comma, just that you have. So that'll be fine. That won't be bad. So these are new words. Our axis of symmetry, just in the middle of your graph. If they, you'll be like, oh, I see it. Because the graph, they'll ask you sometimes about two. This graph's kind of hard to sense. Intercept is where the graph and y it's right on a specific number. It's sure some how it is. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Y-intercept, but I don't name it in this case because it's not kind of hard to see it. Yeah, negative 1.2 or negative 1.3. When they ask the assignment, they're like nice about their value. It'll be like a nice answer. Like it will be something. Okay, now the assignment then to graph it like B. So we're going to graph it's called parabola, that shape. We're going to parabola. And you have to have x. You need the vertex and 2 points to the left and right of vertex. 2 points to the right. In total vertex point, then you'll have side and you'll have so you're going to have graphing points that you'll have. Like if y equals to x plus squared minus 1. To figure out a table XY table like this. Do your assignment. You're gonna so vertex. Okay, so do you know if this is left, right? What do you think? Like in x plus 3. So based on what we've learned, yeah, that's 3 to the left. So is it like literally graph like negative? Okay. This. Yep. Okay, so like down one, that That would be the you have to graph. And I'll give you a picture, like a pencil tool, and you'll have to make a dot. 3, 1, graph. Simon's going to be on Alex to make these. Okay, now the first part, we got the vertex. We need the vertex. Now we need 2 points to the left and the vertex. We're at negative left of negative. Yeah, you're going to have to go like -5. You need to fill in to get more points in the graph. And to the other side, like -2, you get it higher, the numbers lower on the other side. 5 points there. It'll give a graph. Yeah, this one's the vertex. This first one is numbers here. It's going to be the you find the vertex and you go from. So the rest of the table, well, we're going to get basically you take these like -5. We're going to do so we can -5. Calculator by -2 parentheses, -3 parentheses. We are literally numbers in this equation and calculate it. Get the calculator out and do negative parentheses. Oops. That's what I'm doing, and then we're going to get 5 in there plus -5 plus 20. And type it in and calculate it. So calculator, I have one. I have calculators. I'll just put a couple boxes. You definitely need calculator assignment. Oh, calculators. You're gonna have yeah. As you can see, I did in yellow. In wait, you literally have to. There's a negative sign. Negative signs on numbers. Because some said my calculator is typing right. Line way at the bottom. It's a negative. You can't hit -2 at the beginning. Negative and then okay. If I got -9, if you're not getting -9, I'm doing something wrong. If you forget the little like off. That's right. Yeah, it's -5.3. Yeah, if you get it, you're off. Yeah, first one. If you're not getting something wrong somewhere, come in to forget like a negative sign. You gotta try it again. if really big numbers, most like because we're graphing these things, we're like 100. Okay, then I like these calculators because once you get it set up, you can hit the up arrow. Instead of typing it all again, you can hit the up arrow and you can scroll and you can go in here and just change the number. Instead of -5, what's the next number we're going to try? You can just put the cursor on top of the -5 and type a 4, and it changes it to -4. It saves time if you use these calculators. You can just move the cursor around and change the numbers, and then hit enter again. And this one's -3. This is exactly what you're going to have to do on your assignment. You're going to have to sit and make a table and stick numbers in these equations and figure out how to graph it. Try -2. Put -2 in there. Try it on your calculator and see if you can get it. Because if you don't try it, then, I mean, that's how you figure out if you're doing something right or wrong. You got to try it yourself. So let's try -2 in there. So you type -2 parentheses, -2 plus 3 squared minus 1. So try it again. For -2, what'd you get? Good job, it's -3. And then you try -1 in there. Yep, you should get -9. Now you got to graph these. So I already graphed the center one, you know, the vertex one. So then you got to graph -4, -3, and let's see, -2 was -3, and then -5 is -9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this graph goes down a ways. That's okay. This graph goes down like this. So when you do it on the computer on Alex, you have to graph these, like make dots in these, and then it has a little tool where you can connect the dots. You'll see it. It's pretty self-explanatory. One other comment about this one is that this graph ended up going down. I actually knew the graph was going to go down before we even started. Is there something in this problem up here that tells you the graph's going to go down? Well, the +3 just told us left 3. It doesn't tell us if it... Yeah, Oliver. This negative sign right at the beginning, if the first number is negative, yeah, then the graph should be going down. So that's something to keep in mind when you do your homework. If you look at the problem and the first number is negative, then you're like, oh, graph goes down. If this would have been +2, then the graph would have went up on the sides. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So yeah, it's just another thing to keep in mind that you should know that this is negative, so the graph is a reflection. Remember that? It opens down. Remember, that's a reflection. And that's what our graph ended up doing. It ended up opening down. So it's another thing to keep in mind. Okay, I got to show you one more, and then I'm going to let you have a work time today to work on your assignment. There's graphing like this. Another question you're going to come across is related to, there's 13 questions on this assignment, so I'm trying to cover all the stuff that's going to pop up. They might ask you about the domain and the range. We've talked about that before. They're going to ask you about that on this assignment too. I want to go over it again because people tend to forget. They forget what this domain and range stuff is. Okay, we're going to go over domain and range again. So we just graphed one. Let's look at this one we just graphed. Do you guys know what the domain is? Do you happen to know what the domain is? Domain is like the x values the graph hits. Yeah, this graph goes down forever, but it also gets a little bit wider and wider as it goes down. It'll go down forever, and it does keep getting wider and wider, so it goes to the left and to the right forever. So the domain is all real numbers. And another way to say that, yeah, is negative infinity to positive infinity. We worked on that previously. So another way to say it's negative infinity, comma, infinity. I think on the computer they say it the all real numbers way. Like they give you a button to click all real numbers. So you got to know both ways. We've talked about that. There's both ways. Some assignments have it one way, some assignments have it another way. Okay, range. people still kind of get range mixed up. Range is y, so you got to think of the y-axis like the up and down, because some people still look left and right on this one. They get mixed up. Range is up and down. Look at the y line. How high up does this graph go on the y? Yeah, the y, the range, it goes to here. This is -1. So this graph, like she's saying, goes, yep, it goes like down. Catherine's right. It goes like down forever to -infinity. Good job. So you could say -infinity, comma, -1. It goes kind of like that if you do it with the symbols. But this assignment unfortunately doesn't do it this way. I know we worked on that way, but they do it like the old way, like say greater than or less than. So actually, when you do it on this assignment, they're going to ask you what the range is. You say y, and then you say like greater than or less than a certain number. Yeah, you can just come up. That's okay. You can just sign out and grab the pass. It's okay. You guys, on this assignment, they're just going to say y, and then you got to, okay, like she said, it's -1. So doesn't the graph go lower than -1? Like -1, like less than or equal to -1. It goes y less than or equal to -1. They're actually going to say it that way on this assignment, like with greater than sign or less than sign. If it's 10:02. If this graph would have went up, you would have said greater than. If it goes down, you say less than. So they're going to ask domain and range. They're going to have you graph things. They're going to ask you about axis of symmetry, x-intercepts. See, I'm trying to cover it all. Okay, one more thing. That problem we just did, and we did a lot with it, that problem, we could tell what the vertex was right away. We look at it and we found the vertex. This is called vertex form. This way we've been doing for the last 2 weeks, this is called vertex form. We've been finding like the left, right, up, down, the way the center of the graph moves. This is called vertex form. Well, not every problem is in vertex form. Some problems are in standard form. Standard form goes well here I'll put y equals first. Y equals, or f of x equals, ax squared plus bx plus c. This is standard form. You can tell it's not vertex form because it doesn't have parentheses around stuff like the vertex form does. So we'll do an example of a standard form one. This one's standard form. This one says -2x squared minus 4x plus 6. Standard form, you can see there's no parentheses in it. That's how you tell. It's not like this one over here that had parentheses. This is the vertex form, and you can look at it and tell the vertex from these numbers. This one we're doing now is different. This one, no parentheses, so I know it's the standard form. Standard form. Okay, so I don't see parentheses, but I have like a number here. That number is A. This number is A. The second number of the problem is B. And the third number of the problem is C. It's pretty easy. Just label them like A, B, C. So to do this kind, you have to do the axis of symmetry first. Axis of symmetry, which is a formula. It's x equals opposite of b over 2a. You have to do this first. If they give you standard form, you're going to have to do like this little formula. -b over 2a. Does that ring a bell with anybody? Have you seen that before? You did it in Algebra 1. It's just been a while. Been a couple years. So -b over 2a. All right, or opposite of b. Like that's another p. Sometimes when you see negatives, you can say opposite to remind you, like flip the sign, opposite of b. All right, so let's do that first. What should I put for opposite of b or -b? Yeah, the b up here was a -4, so I want to flip it though. and it's going to turn to positive 4. It's going to be x equals, because, you know, it's negative here, and then that's negative. Two negatives make a positive. Remember, it's like flip the sign. So it'll be 4 over 2 times a. Well, a is negative 2 up here. The a number is up here, negative 2. All right, so we got to figure that out. What's 4 divided by, that'd be 4 divided by negative 4. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. What do you get? Negative 1, okay, negative 1. So you make a table now, and negative 1 is an x. See, x equals negative 1 is what you just found. That's the axis of symmetry. That's also an important number for this chart. Negative 1 is the first number, like the middle of the chart, because it's going to be the vertex. It's going to be the vertex. And I'm making a video of this while I'm talking, and then I post it on Canvas. So if you need to watch this again later, you can. Just pointing that out. And now we do it just like we did the assignment, like just like we did this last one over here, down here. I'm going to highlight in yellow. You're going to take this number, negative 1, and you're going to go over to this problem and stick it in there. These x numbers, you have to put them in over here and get a calculator out and see what it adds up to. When you put a number in a problem, you should put parentheses around it because you have to like square it and stuff. You should use parentheses. Okay. So yeah, you need to take a calculator now and type all this in, like negative 2, and then put parentheses, and then type in negative 1 squared. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not that hard since you can use a calculator. Then you have to type minus 4 parentheses negative 1, and then plus 6. I literally have to like type it all in, and I did it, I got 8. Negative 1 comma 8. If you don't type it in right, if you're not getting 8, you've typed something wrong. We gotta like double check. See, I typed negative 2 parentheses negative 1 squared minus 4 parentheses negative 1, and then plus 6. Once you get it typed in and you got the answer 8, then you need some more points. What's some more numbers you could try that are close to negative 1? Yeah, like negative 2, negative 3. You got to do it again with more numbers. And you got to try like 0 and positive 1. You need a few numbers that are lower than negative 1 and a few numbers that are higher than negative 1. Because on this assignment, they want you to get 5 points. So grab your calculator, plug in these numbers, like try negative 2, like he said. And plug it in and see what you get. It takes a minute, doesn't it? Let me check on, okay. What'd you get for negative 2? Good job, you did it right. That is, I got 6 when I did it last period. So you're doing it right. So literally, I like these calculators, like I said, because you can go up and then like you can change the number that you had typed previously. So I can change this to a negative 3 now and do the negative 3 one, change this one to negative 3 over here, and then just hit enter. I got negative 3 comma 0 when I did that one. And then if you try 0, you get 6. And if you try 1, you get 0. Now again, if you're not getting that, like maybe you need me to come over and look at your calculator, I will. Maybe you're just typing a negative sign wrong. Right. I thought I got the right person. You know, you just gotta make sure you're typing everything right in the calculator. All right, so then again, you have to sit and you have to graph it on your computer screen. They'll make you graph this thing. So you'll have to graph 1 comma 0, 0 comma 6, 1 comma 8, or negative 1 comma 8, I said that wrong, but yeah, negative 1, 8, negative 2, 6, and negative 3, 0. You connect your dots, it makes one of those parabola graphs. See, you guys can do, it won't be that bad. Again, you should be able to tell like what x-intercepts are and stuff. Like I graphed it, just to go over that one more time. Do you know what the x-intercepts are? Where does that graph that I just made hit the x line? You know what the x-intercepts are? Good job. They're -3 and 1. They're right here, right there and there. It's where it hits the x-axis. See, that's not that bad. And then there's a y-intercept on this one too. You know what the y-intercept is? Good job. It's 6. Yep, it's y equals 6. You can just put 6. They'll ask you stuff like that. They might ask you domain and range again on that. I could do domain and range quick again on this. Domain is all real numbers. Domain on these parabolas is always all real numbers, you guys. And then range is the hard one. Range is y. And range, you have to say like y is like greater than or less than a certain number. Like how high up does this graph go? Yeah, it went all the way up here to 8 was the highest, so the range is y is less than or equal to 8. Did another one. So I just threw in domain and range again just to go over it one last time. So that's what your assignment's going to be like. You literally have to sit and do this formula. If you get a standard form one, you got to do it this way. You get that middle point first. See, by doing this formula first, it gave us this vertex. It gave us this -1 point. And then we could plug it in up here. So you'll be able to use a calculator, plug in the numbers and calculate it.